start, I just want to say what an amazing morning. I think the speakers have been absolutely brilliant, and I think the fact that we're all coming together as an industry, experts in our field, really talking about some really interesting stuff. So this is the last session of the day, and it's really talking, Tom and I want to talk to you about the power of partnerships and actually how you can turn those moments into a movement as well. So I actually wanted to take a little bit of a step back and think about the story that Greg has in terms of a legacy. So actually, Greg's wasn't all about sausage rolls and steak bakes. It actually started back in 1939 when John Gregg was selling eggs and yeast off the back of a delivery lorry to local families. And actually, what he worked out was that he realised that there was a market, that people wanted to get the eggs and yeast to do their own baking. He actually saw that people had a kind of moment in everyone's day's lives, and he realised that there was a gap in the market. And I think that's really important. It's about knowing exactly what people need and when they need it. And you can actually say that is really the recipe for success. Because if you think about it, partnerships is really, really similar. It's about the fact that when we're talking about partnerships, we're talking about knowing an audience, knowing what they want, and knowing when they want it and in the right way as well, and what, you know, at the right time that you're talking to them too. So Tom and I want to actually ask you to come into our test kitchen today to really think about what partnerships means, because it is about collaboration, and I think that is the most important thing. Collaboration, working with your partner and working with your client and working with your media owner as well, is where that magic happens. And it is about making sure that you do have that understanding of who your audience is, what that right timing is, and also it's about also understanding that sometimes things don't work out right, that you are going to have some challenges and have some challenging conversations. Aaron, I can see that you're laughing at me there because we do that quite a lot. But it is about working together in partnership to overcome those challenges and to go, do you know what, we've hit a bit of a brick wall, but we're going to pivot. And I think that really does come down to trust. So if there's one thing that I want everybody to take away from today, and I think you all know it anyway, trust that you have with the relationships that you have as a partner is so, so important in making sure that you do find that secret sparkle and that you get that recipe right as well. I think the really important thing as well is that a brand can't just be a badge. Like, you can't just stick your logo onto an event, or you put, your logo, your name onto an end credit. It is absolutely about challenging us as media owners to think about, how can you be cultural contributors? I think the role that a brand plays in that partnership is so important in making sure that there's a successful campaign. Because that role allows us as media owners to do the things that we wouldn't normally be able to do. It's about taking those moments that we have with our audiences and making them sparkle and making them even better and making them bigger as well. One of the things that I think is really important as well, it's not just about us as media owners understanding your brand, but you as a brand need to understand what we can offer as media owners as well. And at Global, we're a media and entertainment business. Our proposition is making everyone's day brighter. So we're there, radio, we all know the benefits of it. We're in people's homes, we're in people's cars, we're on people's journeys, when they're out for a run. And I think what we do is we try to make people smile. We try to be in their everyday life. And it is just wrapped in that entertainment. If you think about the people that we have that come through our doors, we've got artists, we've got film artists, we've got politicians, we've got so many people that bring that entertainment into the everyday that we're talking about. How can you as a brand come into our world? How can you come into the entertainment business? And I think, Andrew, when you talk about the cost of dough, one of the things that we talk about is actually how can you be less beige? How can you be a bit more Beyonce? And if you get that right, that's when you really can use our world of entertainment to talk to your audiences and really, you know, have some fun with them as well. At Global, we are a 24/7 entertainment business. This is what we do 365 days of the year. It is about us making people smile, talking to them in that entertaining way. And I think the passion that we have around our audiences is what brands really, really tap into. So whether we are, you know, having our events at the O2 or at Wembley Stadium, it's about that original content that we create as well. So it really is from the day-to-day to those extra special days as well. And we create those extra special moments. So whether it's giving someone £1 million as part of the heart promotions that we do for Make Me a Millionaire, whether we're building studios in Millbank and really getting into the heart of the political conversations that are really impacting people's lives day in, day out. Whether we're taking Chris Moores to Amsterdam for his 50th birthday, I mean, God knows who signed that off, but you know, the fact that we got Chris Moores in Amsterdam and we got him back again is a miracle. And also the fact that we've got Jordan North, who I'm going to talk about a little bit later, but Jordan North celebrating the fact that he joined the Capital Breakfast team as well. I think a key thing that we've talked about today, and I've heard it a lot, is that we are hosted by our presenters, and we cannot forget about the power that our presenters have when they're talking to the nation. And I know, Kirsty, you and I were talking when we were on our train journey up. One of the things you were talking about that on Gold, you're not talking to those millions of people that that are listening to you. You're talking to that one person that's in their bedroom or in their kitchen. And that one-on-one conversation is exceptionally powerful, and we can't underestimate what that powerful conversation is. I like to say that our presenters are the original influencers. Forget all the, the Love Island influencers that are here. We've had presenters from day dot that are talking to our audiences, that one-on-one. The power of those presenters taking your brand and talking about your brand is something that we really, really have to play on. And that's why radio is that trusted medium. It's the relationship that that presenter has with that one person to the millions of people as well. So how do you capitalise on that too? The big thing, don't be a badge. Make sure that you are editorially contributing. What is your role? If your partner or your media owner is not answering that question for you, you need to challenge them. You absolutely have to think about, if you're in that environment, if you're in that entertainment world, what are you doing to add to it? What is the magic that you are bringing? If you can get that right, that is the recipe for success.
I think the answer to that is absolutely, it's partnership. It's don't just let the media owner do it. Be involved, get as involved as you can. Greggs are a great story of that, and I'm pleased to talk to you about how Greggs has become the brand that it is today. So, back in 2021, Greggs set out on an ambitious plan to double their sales over the next 5 years. They aim to do this by increasing their retail footprint, by upgrading their stores, expanding into the evening day part, evolving their menu, and by increasing frequency of purchase by digitising their loyalty offering. And for all those in Manchester, you'll have seen that in the stores that are in Manchester at the moment. However, we knew that increasing the size of their operation wasn't enough on its own. They need to increase their customer marketing, and it was vital to achieve the bold ambitions of the business. We worked as a team to define what makes Greggs meaningful to their customers and how it should be communicated. To do that, we came up with that the Greggs should mean more to more people, and we introduced Bags from Joy and the role it plays for Greggs customers. Whether it's a much-needed coffee in the morning, a tasty bacon sandwich, or that late-night slice of pizza when you've had a little bit too much to drink, Greggs brings a small bit of happiness to everyone's lives. From a media planning point of view, it was vital that this unique personality cut through. Being true to the Greggs brand matters. Doing what only Greggs can do matters. We want our customers to feel joy when they see our advertising, and it's through that lens that we evaluate all campaign briefs and ideas. With Greggs having had such ambitious growth plans, we recognise the need for a greater mix of brand and response media. Before that 5-year plan, Greggs' media investment was solely on proximity out of home that targeted Greggs stores and directed customers towards the deals available, as you can see by the phone box on the left-hand side. This created the understanding of locality and value, but did nothing to build perceptions of why customers should choose Greggs, why Greggs was a brand for them. Through their own organic social, they began to build that brand, collabs with Primark, where you see teenagers walking around with Primark Greggs hoodies. But organic alone wasn't enough to deliver that needed growth. They needed the exponential reach that paid media can deliver. They needed to increase consideration and preference that brand media can deliver. Investment in media has been integral to the growth of the Greggs business. Working with D2D, Kokora and Kantar, we utilise the full suite of measurement solutions and have spent on media with a strategy of test, learn and invest. And you can see that from the growth of investment over the last 4 years. Moving away from only proximity out of home, we added radio into the mix in 2021. As Gemma mentioned on the panel earlier, it's a fantastic channel for driving reach and frequency and having a constant message to people about what Greggs can offer. But we did it in only the way Greggs can do it. We brought the joy. We brought the joy at Christmas by partnering with Global to launch their festive menu. It was bold, it was creative, and it had heaps of fun and content throughout it. The campaign was a great success. And since then, radio and partnerships has been a key channel for Greggs and exists in a multi-channel ecosystem. Partnerships are a key area for Greggs investment as we look to grow perception, fame, and consideration. Greggs already had a high level of awareness, 90 plus when you look at the brand tracking. So that wasn't our task for brand media. Our task was to build perception and generate cut-through in a very competitive market. McDonald's are the absolute big player for Greggs, and they spend more in a month than Greggs will spend in a year. So that cut-through was really important for Greggs to mean more to more people. And media partnerships do an amazing job at just that. They stand out from the crowd, they're creative first, and they live beyond media through the talkability generated through owned and earned. Greggs' 4 character traits are ideal for partnerships with radio brands. They're down to earth, they're for everyone, they're comfortable in their own skin, and they're just good fun. Radio brands and the talent they work with share those same characteristics. So working with this talent to bring family-friendly joy to the nation fitted perfectly with the Greggs brand. Over the last 4 years, we've seen real growth in our brand metrics through the YouGov Brand Index. Between 2021 and 2023, the growth in brand consideration was amazing, and we are now in direct competition with McDonald's for that #1 spot. Recently, that consideration has grown into purchase intent by building the brand and making Greggs mean more to more people. We have shifted consumer behaviour into choosing Greggs for their next purchase. Our objective was to shift the conversion between consideration and purchase intent, which is that score at the bottom where we've gone from 38 to 49, and we've done just that. We've done some amazing radio partnerships over the last 4 years, which Mickelle's got the pleasure to show you all the examples, and they're brilliant. The reason they're brilliant is, the fantastic work that Global have done for us, but also Greggs do partnerships incredibly well. They go full in with their creative way to make it as Greggs a moment as possible. One thing's for certain, to your point earlier, no Greggs partnership could ever be called a badging exercise.
Yeah, I totally agree. For me, I suppose, what do we do? How can we unpick some of the stuff that we've done so that we can learn from it? In 2021, we actually went kind of smallish. We got the Christmas brief, and we very much were about, okay, let's do some Christmas giveaways on Radio X, and do some giveaways on Capital, and then we'll do a sponsorship to drive scale. But actually, when Gemma talked about deeper partnerships, and I think even Andrew's, the conversation that Andrew had around that consistency of creativity, one thing that we do know is that, the long-term partnerships are the ones that are really, really effective. In year 1, we really started to understand what Greggs was all about, the tone of voice, the kind of the positioning, the fact that they were about that joy. And really, that's the foundation that we built on. So fast forward to 2022, that's where we could actually start to have some fun. Now, we would, we have the studios that we all broadcast out of, right? And they're very expensive studios. The quality is amazing, and you rarely get out of those studios. They're built there for a reason. But actually, what we wanted to do was take Chris and the breakfast team out and put them in front of a live audience. Now, we wouldn't have been able to do that if Greggs wasn't on board, because it was Greggs that allowed us to tonally have some fun with taking them outside of the studio. And it worked really, really well for us. So for those of us that are old enough to remember Noel's house party, we had Chris's best mates, Shed 7, pop down. We had Chris Kamara come down. We had Sue from Corrie come down. And we had some really, really, really good fun. And, it made for great radio. And great radio, although on air, we also visualised it, and we had a live audience as well. So we're really pushing the boundaries. And if I ask the question, are you badging or are you editorially contributing, you can see that Greggs was really front and centre of what we were doing, down to the Greggs jumper, which I now own and bring out every Christmas, let me tell you. But we didn't just stop there with Radio X. We also looked at what we could do with Capital. Now, if you told me that I was going to get Will Manning, one of our presenters, to hang down in a human-sized claw and start grabbing prizes for our listeners to win, you couldn't make it up. And if there's anything about bagging joy, for me, that's bagging joy, watching him, hanging down. But, again, when we talk about radio promotions, they aren't the radio promotions that we remember, but back in the day. This is about us visualising radio promotions and actually having fun with it and really getting our listeners to get involved, but also our brands to get involved as well. So some really good fun was had there too. The most important thing that we learned is, now that we had the relationship with Greggs, we understood how we could work with them and what we could do. What was their editorial contribution that we could go to them? So when we were launching the new Jordan North breakfast show on Capital, our PR team came to us and said that they had an idea. They wanted to create these picky bits box that they were going to send out to people to celebrate the launch of the breakfast show. So we got on a call with Greggs and we were like, we've got a great idea. And we were so disappointed because they were like, oh no, we've already done that before, we don't want to do it again. And I was gutted. But the point being that, we worked together to think out what are the challenges and, how can we pivot. What we did is we got Jordan to come onto the call. And again, we were having the conversation. I was thinking, oh God, this is not going well. We're not really getting any ideas. Then he went, wait a minute. I love a bacon butty, and when I have a bacon butty, I put ketchup, mustard, and I put brown sauce on it. And we were like, what?
Which as an idea, no sales team will ever...
No, you're not going to get that.
You're never going to pitch that as a sales idea.
But that was his idea, and he came on that call, and we were like, oh, that's quite funny, actually. And then someone said, I think it was the exec producer said, imagine if we call it like the Jordan. So Greggs were like, oh, God, but we don't do mustard in store. This is a bit of a problem. How are we going to do this? But let me go away and let me figure out and see what we could do. Fast forward, we've now got Roisin, their CEO, on stage, on air, going like, do you know what? I'm going to accept your challenge. I'm going to see if we can do it. And just so close to the line, we were told, we can't get the mustard. We literally can't get the mustard in the store. But we did it. In 24 hours, we turned around the creative, we had the Jordan, we had the mustard in the store, we had the Jordan creative in the store, and then that's when we could really start doing the exciting stuff. We were telling everybody on air, get down to your Greggs store, try the Jordan. And again, within that time, we also then used the Outernet, which is the new entertainment space in London, to really visualise what we did. So as people were going out and trying the Jordan, they were sending us the socials that were coming through, and we were getting it up onto those screens on the Outernet. And we even had the Greggs ban, so that everyone could try it as well. So again, a great example of a seed of an idea, making sure that Greggs was really fully part of it, but also pivoting when we were hitting those challenges as well in true partnership. I think that's the key thing that you can take from that. And we've done really well in terms of the PR team. Obviously, said it was their idea, and got great coverage for it. We're also up for a campaign audio award later on this year too. So fingers crossed on that one. And it doesn't stop there, because we've done that. We were like, okay, what more can we do? We wanted to take Capital Dance to Ibiza. Now, I would not have expected Greggs and Ibiza, the White Isle, to come together, but it did, and it worked. I remember the biggest, I think the highlight of my career is watching a man chasing the Greggs van to get to Cafe Mambo, because he'd heard on socials that Greggs was there and sausage rolls were there. And watching Spanish people eat a sausage roll for the first time is also a joy to watch too.
I suppose what people don't see from the content that the consumer sees is how hard to get the truck to Ibiza it was in terms of Spanish customs, food imports. That trust that Greggs had built in Global and the work that they could do meant that, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go for it. Yeah,
and we even had to stop their campaign because the van was due to go to a festival, and we had to pull it out of the festival and go, right, okay, we're getting it from Newcastle through to Ibiza as well. But that gave us an opportunity to create some amazing content, right? Because we had the journey of the van and what we had to do, and everyone was following it and tooting, and we were getting all of that as well. And then we obviously had Jax Jones performing in the van with a load of people, and I think the guy that was chasing him was actually in the video that we're going to show later on. So really, it's just showing that editorial contribution and what Greggs can do when you do have that deep, meaningful relationship as well.
This isn't normal.
Superman! Yeah. Say when to stop, say when to stop.
Welcome to the Santa Claus. Go, 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 find the biggest present you can find.
Actually flew in the air.
Welcome to the all-new Capital Breakfast Show with me, Jordan North.
Capital and Greggs are heading to Ibiza this summer with actual sausage rolls.
It's Jen Severin!
Mr. Chris Kamara, isn't it?
Let me see if there's anything at all we could do. I will take the challenge.
Oh, this is brilliant.
Quickly.
Told you she's good, right?
For £3,000.
£250 to spend on Greggs.
Yes, get in my belly.
No more Christmas dinner, just Greggs.
iPhone 14!
Come on!
The Asus 14-inch laptop.
The highest one. Very quick.
I can't believe I just said the highlight of my career was that I saw a Spanish person eating a sausage roll. There we go. 3 things that we would love you to take away from this. It is about that editorial contributor and being part of that. Be more John Gregg. You have the start of a great idea. How do you build on that? How do you build on that foundation? How do you work with your partner to get that special, the ingredients and work together on that and to make some amazing stuff happen? Lean into your partners. I had a really good thing when I was on a panel recently that talked about what's the one thing that you would say from a partnership, and it is that trust. But it's also the delivery team. These things are complex to make happen. It's having the trust to do that, but knowing that delivery team are very good at what they do, they're experts at what they do, and leaning into that and having the trust that they will deliver for you. And playing with culture. Entertainment is a great space to be in. If you talk about the cost of dough, bring yourself into our world, and you really, really will reap the benefits. Because if you do it, you will make it happen. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.